Shabbat Shalom. Our scripture reading for today is Job 19, verse 23 through 25. Oh, that my words were now written. Oh, that they were printed in a book, that they were graven with an iron pen and lead in the rock forever. For I know that my Redeemer lives, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth.
Shabbat Shalom. Our selection today is I Know My Redeemer Lives.
Where to stand in the morning? Who told the ocean you can only come this far? And who showed the moon where to hide till evening? Who girds the moon and catch a falling star? Well, I know my Redeemer lives. I fight, let this life within me cry. I know my Redeemer lives. There's an Elohim who sends things in orbit, runs to the weary, the worn and the weak, and the same gentle hands that hold me when I'm broken. They conquered death to bring me victory. Well, I know my Redeemer lives. I know my Redeemer lives. Let all creation testify. Let this life within me cry. I know my Redeemer lives. And he lives to take away my shame. He lives forever. He lives, I proclaim. But the payment for my sins was the precious life he gave. And
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you're sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as their children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication, and all uncleanness, or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth, therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on the Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. And we truly do have to praise our Father who art in heaven. If we pay attention to the examples that are written, then it gives us a something to go by, some guidelines, if you will, as to how we're supposed to deal with our things. But of course, when we get into the place of starting families, we haven't gotten in the Word, most of us yet. So the understanding is not there. And it was definitely that way with me. You look at stories on television, and you see these things where whether it's a ball player or somebody who becomes famous, and then the absentee father shows up. I remember when Shaquille O'Neal had started rapping, and he did and here comes this dad, this father who wanted to take credit for part of his success, and it really then it was really out there. You don't really think that those things are gonna happen to you, and I ended up in a situation where it has. Here it is. I'm a couple months from being an elder, and here come a genetic donor of material calling my house. See, there's a difference between a daddy and a genetic donor of material. Those are two totally separate things. Anybody can be a genetic donor of material. Everybody can't be a daddy. So that led down to a whole lot of things here. So I want to. This is sometimes you got to minister to yourself, and y'all just happen to be here. So yeah, just take part in my journey. Let's start at 1 Kings chapter 11. 1 Kings 11, and we're going to start that at verse 9.
Verse 9. And Yahweh was angry with Shlomo because his heart was turned from Yahweh Elohim of Israel, which appeared unto him twice.
Now, you see the first of all, the level in which it's making the point, Yahweh appeared unto him twice. Like, this was a big deal. Like, if Yahweh appears unto you one time in your life, you are absolutely blessed. Yet we hear all these people that they talk to God every other night. Yeah, here we got people who don't even understand or walk in the commandments, yet God talked to them. That might be a different God talking to them. Go ahead.
And had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods, but he kept not that which Yahweh commanded.
Right, but see, he went after other gods indirectly. Not directly, but indirectly. Go ahead.
Wherefore Yahweh said unto Shlomo, forasmuch as this is done of you, and you have not kept my covenant and my statutes, which
Hold on, brother. Elijah, if y'all have to move some of this equipment back and put a few chairs over here. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 11. Wherefore Yahweh said unto Shlomo, forasmuch as this thing is done of you, and you have not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded you, I will surely rend the kingdom from you, and will give it to your servant. Notwithstanding in your days, I will not do it for David your father's sake, but I will rend it out of the hand of your son.
Now, you see how the lack of how the father is operating in his life has now cursed this child. This child is about to be born into things that they have nothing to do with him. He didn't make any of these decisions, but he's about to have to deal with all of the decisions that his father has made. See, sometimes we get caught onto that part where the son shall not die for the sins of the father. No, but he sure gonna walk in them. He sure gonna walk in them. And it's already a strange thing, because here it is. Solomon had what, like 2,000 or 1,000 wives or something? How many kids you find he had? If that ain't the strangest thing, it's something. So he was all about himself. David had like 20 something kids, and he ain't had nowhere near 1,000. So what was Shlomo's focus? Shlomo's focus was Shlomo. Go ahead.
Verse 13. Howbeit, I will not rend away all the kingdom, but will give one tribe to your son for David my servant's sake.
So, not only does the sins will pass down from the father, but so will the blessings. The only reason you sitting here because I love your dad. It's the only reason you sitting here. So, you got the blessing from a generation before. The generation after, you going to receive the curse of your dealings. Go ahead.
And for Jerusalem's sake, which I have chosen. And Yahweh stirred up an adversary unto Shlomo, Hadad the Edomite. He was of the king's seed in Edom. For it came to pass, when David was in Edom, and Joab the captain of the host was gone up to bury the slain, after he had smitten every male in Edom. For 6 months did Joab remain there with all Israel, until he had cut off every male in Edom. That Hadad fled, he and certain Edomites of his father's servants, with him to go into Egypt, Hadad being yet a little child.
So here it is. Yahweh is setting up. Only put in what we got necessary. All right. When it comes down to a situation, Yahweh leaves. He can leave just one, and that one will be enough to start a revolt. if you do what you're supposed to do, that one never rises. They just sit there and just look at you mean all, every time. But when you don't do what you're supposed to do, that very one that he left alive, all he has thought about is coming at you. Go ahead.
And they arose out of Midian and came to Paran. And they took men with them out of Paran, and they came to Egypt, unto Pharaoh king of Egypt, which gave him an house, and appointed him victuals, and gave him land. And Hadad found great favor in the sight of Pharaoh, so that he gave him to wife the sister of his own wife, the sister of Taphanes the queen. And the sister of Taphanes bare him Genobath his son, whom Taphanes weaned in Pharaoh's house. And Genobath was in Pharaoh's household among the sons of Pharaoh. And when Hadad heard in Egypt that David slept with his fathers, and that Joab the captain of the host was dead, Hadad said to Pharaoh, Let me depart, that I might go to mine own country. Then Pharaoh said unto him, But what have you lacked with me, that you behold, you seeketh to go to your own country? And he answered, Nothing. Howbeit, let me go in any wise.
Right. Now he's driven. He's driven to go there. I got everything I need here. But there's a drive pushing me to go there. Because he got to go take care of some business. Go ahead.
And Elohim stirred him up another adversary, Rezin, the son of Eliada, which fled from his master Hadad-ezer, king of Zobah. And he gathered men unto him, and became captain over a band, when David slew them of Zobah. And they went to Damascus, and dwelt therein, and reigned in Damascus. And he was an adversary to Israel all the days of Shlomo, beside the mischief that Hadad did. And he abhorred Israel, and reigned over Syria. And Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, an Ephrathite of Zeradah, Shlomo's servant, whose mother's name was Zurah, a widow woman, even he lifted up his hand against the king. And this was the cause that he lifted up his hand against the king. Shlomo built Millo, and repaired the breaches of the city of David his father. And the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor. And Shlomo, seeing the young man that he was industrious, he made him ruler over all the charge of the house of Joseph. And it came to pass at that time, when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, that the prophet Ahiah the Shilonite found him in the way. And he had clad himself with a new garment, and they two were alone in the field. And Ahiah caught the new garment that was on him, and rent it in 12 pieces. And he said to Jeroboam, Take you 10 pieces, for thus says Yahweh, the El of Israel, Behold, I'll rend the kingdom out of the hand of Shlomo, and will give 10 tribes to you.
And you pretty much made him a serious enemy at this point. You talking about rending 10 tribes you just gave him everything. Go ahead.
But he shall have one tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel. Because that they have forsaken me, and have worshipped Ashtaroth, the goddess of the Zidonians, Chemosh, the god of the Moabites, and Milcom, the god of the children of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways, to do that which is right in my eyes, and to keep my statutes and my judgments, as did David his father.
Right. Because he built all of these other places, he pushed Israel and made it very accessible for them to do this sin right in the midst of Yahweh. Go ahead.
Howbeit, I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I'll make him prince all the days of his life for David my servant's sake, whom I chose, because he kept my commandments and my statutes.
So look at how this is flowing. Even though he has done evil, Yahweh said, I'm going to let him still be a prince because of the agreement that I made with David. But I'm going to make his son suffer for the actions that he's taking. Go ahead.
But I'll take the kingdom out of his son's hand, and will give it unto you, even 10 tribes. And unto his son will I give one tribe, that David my servant may have a light always before me in Jerusalem, the city which I've chosen me to put my name there.
Right. So leaving a tribe plus his own house only is about maintaining the agreement with Dawid. Ain't about him. So if we are going to partake in the curses, we also get to partake in the blessings. But that go both ways. This protection is because of the Father. Go ahead.
And I'll take you, and you shall reign according to all that your soul desires, and shall be king over Israel. And it shall be, if you will hearken unto all that I command you, and will walk in my ways, and do that which is right in my sight, to keep my statutes and my commandments, as Dawid my servant did, that I'll be with you, and build you a sure house, as I built for Dawid, and will give Israel unto you. And I will for this afflict the seed of Dawid, but not forever. Shlomo sought therefore to kill Jeroboam, and Jeroboam arose and fled into Egypt, unto Shishak, king of Egypt, and was in Egypt until the death of Shlomo.
So, do understand, sometimes Yahweh will turn around and give you something that he know people finna try to kill you for. He knew exactly what Shlomo was going to do when he said that. Go ahead.
And the rest of the acts of Shlomo, and all that he did, and his wisdom, are they not written in the book of the acts of Shlomo? And the time that Shlomo reigned in Jerusalem over all Israel was 40 years. And Shlomo slept with his fathers, and was buried in the city of Dawid his father, and Rehoboam his son reigned in his stead.
All right, keep going.
And Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel were come to Shechem to make him king. And it came to pass, when Jeroboam the son of Nebat was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he was fled from the presence of King Shlomo, and Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt, that they sent and called him. And Jeroboam and all the congregation of Israel came and spake unto Rehoboam, saying.
Now, why would they be seeking somebody else? So you already have to deal with how Shlomo reigned in the kingdom. A lot of times we focus on the things that Shlomo possessed, and it says, yeah, he was exceedingly wise. He was rich. We kind of stay there, but then you have to deal with. So how did he run this kingdom? How is it that these people, as soon as he's dead, asking, no, not, we come over here. Go ahead.
Your father made our yoke grievous. Now therefore, make you the grievous service of your father, and his heavy yoke which he put upon us lighter, and we will serve you.
So then the first thing you have to ask then, well, how did he make their yoke so heavy? So when you think about all of these building projects where he built all of these houses of worship for the strange wives that he married, where was he getting that money from? They saying, make the yoke lighter. So he got them doing all the work. He got them paying extra money. He taxing them. So now these people said, make the yoke lighter. Go ahead.
And he said unto them, depart yet for 3 days, then come again to me. And the people departed. And King Rehoboam consulted with the old men that stood before Shlomo his father while he yet lived, and said, how do you advise that I may answer this people?
So the first way he went was the right way. He decided to ask the elders. Go ahead.
And they spake unto him, saying, if you will be a servant unto this people this day, and will serve them, and answer them, and speak good words to them, then they will be your servants forever. But he forsook the counsel of the old men.
Now understand something. The old men have given him counsel, the elders have given him counsel, and they didn't even bash his daddy to do it. The folks said right away, look, man, your daddy worked us to the bone. The old man didn't even bash his daddy. They said, if you do this, these people will serve you. These people will be happy if you do this thing. Go ahead.
But he forsook the counsel of the old men which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that were grown up with him. and which stood before him.
Right. This is where you have to learn not to cast your pearls among swine, where you find people seeking advice, but they already decided which advice they were going to take before they talk to you. This situation is already decided. See, Yahweh is about to deal with some situations, so he's not going to be able to take sound advice anyway. There's sometimes the folk just wasting your time asking advice because they already know what they're going to do. Matter of fact, they're going to keep asking people, calling around until they find the one opinion that agree with the one they already want. 30 people said don't do it. 31 said, you know, I'll do it. You know what? That's what I'm going to do right there. Thank you for telling me that. I'm going to do it. So 30 out of 31 said don't do it. When 31 said do it, because that's what you wanted to do anyway, all of a sudden, now the voice of wisdom speaketh. Right. Go ahead, bro.
You know, my only situation in this is, you know, we also have to be able to discern between young spiritually and young naturally.
Uh-huh. Most definitely. These were not just old men. It said old men that served with his father. Mm-hmm. See, there's two things that's happening there. Old and serve. Mm-hmm. See, you got old and sit on buttercups, and then you got old and who have served. Two totally different old men. They might have the same amount of gray hair. One of them started working yesterday. The other one got 20 years. Don't think them the same kind of old men. Go ahead.
Verse 9. And he said unto them, what counsel give you that we may answer this people who have spoken to me, saying, make the yoke which your father did put upon us lighter? And the young men that were grown up with him spake.
The young men that were grown up with him. So he gonna ask his buddies. He already leaned toward his buddies anyway. Go ahead.
And the young men that were grown up with him spake unto him, saying, thus shall you speak unto this people that spake unto you, saying, your father made our yoke heavy, but make you it lighter unto us. Thus shall you say unto them, my little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. And now whereas my father did lay you with a heavy yoke, I'll add to your yoke. My father has chastised you with whips, but I'll chastise you with scorpions.
What kind of friends are these? Who's these guys? Go ahead.
You know, part of the problem is he made them seem like they were part of rulership, though. Because he said, and what did he say? How we may answer these people.
Well, you got to consider something. Well, it said he grew up with them. Mm-hmm. So he the king's son, right? All right. Well, these the rest of the brats in the ruling party. These the brat sons. Who else he gonna hang out with?
The danger coming down on his head alone.
Exactly. So who he hanging out with? These the bunch of privileged people who ain't had to do nothing that all the ordinary people have had to do. So he's asking all the privileged kids. Go ahead.
So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam the third day, as the king had appointed, saying, come to me again the third day. And the king answered the people roughly, and forsook the old man's counsel that they gave him, and spake to them after the counsel of the young men, saying, my father made your yoke heavy, and I'll add to your yoke. My father also chastised you with whips, but I'll chastise you with scorpions. Wherefore the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was from Yahweh.
The cause was from Yahweh. Yahweh would not even let him listen to sound doctrine. You're not even going to be able to recognize sound doctrine because you going to follow who you close to. Them your little buddies. Go ahead.
That he might perform his saying, which Yahweh spake by Ahiah the Shilonite unto Jeroboam the son of Nebat. So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, what portion have we in Dawid? Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel. Now see to your own house, Dawid. So Israel departed unto their tents.
Now understand something. The reason these answers are not right, the reason why he can't receive what's, understand now, we're talking about one generation from the wisest man ever lived. Yet, this individual can't take sound doctrine. That's a part of the curse from the generation before. You mean your father could have wisdom about situations that he wasn't even present for? Yet, you can't figure out that you should probably be nice to these people that your father have worked to death? No, that's cursed. Took away that understanding and that wisdom, gone. Here's the punishment. But it's because of how the father operated. Then you have to ask yourself, if you try to swoop in and all of a sudden you're going to save somebody, you have to ask yourself a question. If Yahweh is making this individual pay for their decisions, what you think going to happen to you when you get ready to save them? Right. Now you done jumped in his business. How long you think he gonna let you stay in his business? How long you think he gonna compromise with you standing there? Why you think he told Moshe, I send an angel to lead you in the way, but don't you provoke him, for he will not pardon your transgression. Stay out of his way. How long you think he gonna let you help somebody that he pissed at and that he trying to show something to? Go ahead, bro.
But as for the children of Israel which dwelt in the cities of Yehuda, Rehoboam reigned over them. Then King Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was over the tribute, and all Israel stoned him with stones, that he died. Therefore King Rehoboam made speed to get him up to his chariot to flee to Jerusalem. So Israel rebelled against the house of David unto this day. And it came to pass, when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation and made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Yehuda only. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Yehuda with the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors, to fight against the house of Israel, to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam the son of Shlomo.
Now this might seem like it was going to be, an unfair fight. You got Judah and Benjamin, but when you got Judah and Benjamin, you walking tall. Them not the ones to have an issue with. Those are not the ones to have an issue with. So you might look at that and say, what the two tribes gonna do against everybody? Nah, these are different kind of people right here. These different kind of individuals. Benjamites just like to fight. They just fight for no reason at all. They fight because it's Monday. It's just Monday. Pow! Just hit somebody. What you hit me for? It's Monday. They just like it and they good at it. They were just born to do it. Go ahead.
You say Benjamin, you got your fighters, and we look at Yehuda, the kings.
You got the kings and the warriors.
Right, but the kings also have to go through fight training as well. It's not like today where these leaders don't know nothing about real fighting, but they also got to know what's going on in the field and how to operate in the field.
Almost definitely. The king fights Yahweh's battles for him. So when you got both of them coming at you, you got something coming at you. Go ahead.
But the word of Elohim came unto Shemaiah, the man of Elohim, saying, Speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Shlomo, king of Yehuda, and unto all the house of Yehuda and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, Thus says Yahweh, You shall not go up nor fight against your brethren, the children of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me.
This thing is from me. Yahweh is the reason why he couldn't take sound counsel. Yahweh is handling all of this, but because of the decisions that were made, Shlomo cared about Shlomo. And now his son is paying the price. Go ahead.
They hearkened therefore to the word of Yahweh, and returned to depart according to the word of Yahweh. Then Jeroboam built Shechem in Mount Ephraim, and dwelt therein. and went out from thence and built Penuel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of Yahweh at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their master, even unto Rehoboam king of Yehudah, and they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam king of Yehudah. Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold.
Now they going so far back now. So all of this is now the result of how Shlomo lived his life in pleasure of himself. Now all of this is the result, and this ain't even happening to Shlomo. Go ahead.
And said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold your gods, O Israel, which brought you up out of the land of Egypt. And he set the one in Bethel, and the other put he in Dan.
And it trips me out how people say, Dan is cursed, because Dan did such and such. Man, all Israel did that. What are you talking about? They want to single out Dan because they've been listening to some of those crazy people who claim that Dan is not gonna make it into the land. So they listening to them strange. Everybody that got a website ain't worth listening to. You're gonna have to figure that out at some point. Go ahead.
And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. And he made an house of high places, and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi.
So then you start to see how the nation then is formed. So you have Benjamin and Judah, and then because they're going to forsake Levi because they are worried about things being done in the other part of the kingdom, now they're going to drive Levi over to the house of David. Then you end up with the kings, the warriors, and the priests. Come on. That's a royal flush. Go ahead.
And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Yehudah.
So when we start getting into all these things and people want to know, do you keep this feast or do you keep this feast? This feast has been kept in Israel. What part of Israel? Because if we got one part of Israel to just make up a feast, you know what? It's Sunday today. Let's have Sunday day feast. The hell is that? 100 years later, people out there walking around with made up suns and dress. What is this? Sunday day feast. Are you crazy? So when people want to know, what days do y'all keep? The ones in the book that we were commanded to keep? Because if you go by everything that you find somebody doing in the Bible, you're going to be worshiping how to do it in a minute. He's made up days. Why not make up days? He made up priests. Go ahead.
And he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calves that he had made. And he placed in Bethel the priest of the high places which he had made.
Right. So when people start talking about all of these things where, these things have been done for generations and we should, man, that don't mean nothing to me. You look deep enough, you're going to find some real strange things in the generation of Israel. Go ahead.
So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised of his own heart.
Devised of his own heart. This is his feast. Go ahead.
And ordained a feast unto the children of Israel. And he offered upon the altar and burnt incense.
Now keep in mind now, all of this is coming down as a result of a man deciding that he's going to take care of nothing but himself his whole life. And this is the weight that falls upon his seed. Go ahead.
That was the end of that verse. We jump in chapter 13.
Yeah. Go to 1 Kings 13 and start that at verse 11.
Now there dwelt an old prophet in Bethel, and his sons came and told him all the works that the man of Elohim had done that day in Bethel. The words which he had spoken unto the king, them they told also to their father. And their father said unto them, What way went he? For his sons had seen what way the man of Elohim went, which came from Yehuda. And he said unto his sons, Saddle me the ass. So they saddled him the ass, and he rode thereon, and went after the man of Elohim, and found him sitting under an oak. And he said unto him, Are you the man of Elohim that came from Yehuda? And he said, I am. Then he said unto him, Come home with me, and eat bread. And he said, I may not return with you, nor go in with you, neither will I eat bread, nor drink water with you in this place. For it was said to me by the word of Yahweh, You shall eat no bread, nor drink water there, nor turn again to go by the way that you cameth. He said unto him, I am a prophet also as you are.
All right. I'm a prophet as you are. Read.
And an angel spake unto me by the word of Yahweh.
Stop. What indication do you have? Remember what we just read. What indication that you have that he's dealing with some strange stuff? Where was he from? Where? Bethel. Where did old boy set up those images to worship?
And one in Dan.
And one in Bethel.
And one in Bethel.
Uh-huh. So when they say they're a prophet of what?
Oh.
He could have very well been a prophet of what? Which God? What God you said? Because y'all got a couple of them over there in Bethel. See, a lot of times we don't ask enough questions. I talked to God last night. What God? What his name? What did he tell you? The God of who? God of what? Right. You talk to the adversary of the devil. He's God. Ask some questions about what God. You a prophet of what? We see what these things were set up at. And then he went right into this. I'm a prophet too. No questions asked. Don't assume because somebody said they talked to God that they talked to the same one that you pray to. They very well could have talked to God. A God. Go ahead.
At least he had enough sense to say an angel said to me by the words of Yahweh. He didn't say Yahweh spoke to me last night.
Hey, that would have been a dead giveaway to them. That would have been a dead giveaway. You said what now? God talked to me. Ouch. Out of 5,000 G. He was gone. Baby, I'm not even finna listen to you finish this sentence. He had sense enough, like you said, to say an angel talked to me. You know, that's even when you look at this book, they tell me, you know what? That's real suspicious. Why you think they went out of their way to say, Elohim talked to Shlomo twice? You see how they made a big deal out of that? Go ahead.
And an angel spake unto me by the word of Yahweh, saying, Bring him back with you into your house, that he may eat bread and drink water.
Now, we do know that there's also a lion spirit that Yahweh allowed to go too. That lion spirit said the same thing. Yahweh told me, you gonna do what? I'm gonna go, I shall lie. Go on with your lion self. Go on ahead then. Go on with the lion spirit. Do that thing. Hey, we know there's lion spirits. Go ahead.
But he lied unto him. So he went back with him, and did eat bread in his house, and drank water. And it came to pass, as they sat at the table, that the word of Yahweh came unto the prophet that brought him back.
Now, how easy is it to persuade you to walk away from the instructions that were given unto you? So, all somebody has to say is, I'm a prophet too. Go ahead.
And he cried unto the man of Elohim that came from Yehuda, saying, Thus says Yahweh, For as much as you have disobeyed the mouth of Yahweh, and have not kept the commandment which Yahweh your Elohim commanded you, but came back, and has eaten bread and drunk water in the place of the which Yahweh did say to you, Eat no bread, and drink no water, your carcass shall not come onto the sepulchre of your fathers.
So, the lying prophet has now received the truth from Yahweh. So he lied before, but now he's telling the truth. This is how you have to learn how to watch how the spirit moves. the truth just came out of the mouth of a liar. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for the truth to come out of the mouth of a liar? Hey, that's some pretty heavy stuff. He just got through lying. But now Yahweh actually talking. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, after he had eaten bread, and after he had drunk, that he saddled for him the ass, to wit, for the prophet whom he had brought back. And when he was gone, a lion met him by the way, and slew him. And his carcass was cast in the way, and the ass stood by it. The lion also stood by the carcass.
So the lion is not interested in eating him. The lion just wanted to kill him. If the lion was hungry, it would have kept eating. It had, the ass. It could have ate that too. He didn't even bother that. He just wanted to sit there and listen. Yahweh told me to do that. That's why he said now, when a lion takes down the prey, they sit there with it, make sure don't nobody else come get it. He not even bothering it. He not even trying to eat. Go ahead.
Hey man, I think in this situation, before I died, he'd have been dead. Hey, my sentence is already there. I'm gonna die, but I'm gonna have to take you out, cause he gonna take me out, cause you lied to me.
Hey, this is a strange situation right here, ain't it? The lion don't bother nobody else. That mean that lion was this was a hit lion. This is a hit lion. You heard of hit men? This was a hit lion. Look, here go the picture. This is the only dude I want you to kill right here. That's him right there. So look at that picture. Got it. That's it. That's it. It's the only one he wants you to go get. That deep. Go ahead.
And behold, men passed by and saw the carcass cast in the way, and the lion standing by the carcass.
They walking by it. See, at this point, this is when Yahweh, your Elohim, make an example out of you. How many times I got to keep giving you instructions? Did I not give you instructions? Did you forget the instructions? So now just let him sit there and let everybody walk by. And if the lion tear you up enough, nobody recognizes the carcass. But Yahweh wanted people to recognize the carcass. So people say, hey, ain't that the dude, the lion prophet? Hey, ain't that the dude? So Yahweh just let the lion take one bite out of crime. That's it. Leave the rest of them now. Just make sure his face is not bothered at all. I need him to see him. Go ahead.
And they came and told it in the city where the old prophet dwelt. And when the prophet that brought him back from the way heard thereof, he said, it is the man of Elohim, who was disobedient unto the word of Yahweh.
Man, there's something real disrespectful about the liar talking about you being disobedient. There's some real disrespectful stuff that's happening right here.
He wouldn't have lived to be able to say that.
But at some point, you're going to have to make a decision who you're going to listen to. Go ahead.
Therefore Yahweh had delivered him unto the lion, which has torn him and slain him, according to the word of Yahweh, which he spake unto him. And he spake to his sons, saying, saddle me the ass. And they saddled him. And he went and found his carcass cast in the way, and the ass and the lion standing by the carcass. The lion had not eaten the carcass, nor torn the ass.
He just sitting there. He just sitting there. He want everybody to know who did it. Go ahead.
And the prophet took up the carcass of the man of Elohim, and laid it upon the ass, and brought it back. And the old prophet came to the city to mourn and to bury him.
Okay, stop. Verse 29. And the prophet took up the carcass that the lion bit of the man of Elohim, okay, and laid it upon the ass that the lion didn't bother eating. This lion not hungry at all. So dude just walk up and take, let me tell you something. The one thing you don't do is take a carcass from a lion. You better have the whole squad with you if you gonna take the carcass from a lion. The whole pack of hyenas got to come to take that carcass from that lion. Ain't no one dude walking up taking no carcass. He just walk up and take it. Not only does he take it, he then put it on something else that the lion could have ate and walked off with it. So he walked off with 2 possible meals. Go ahead.
And he laid his carcass in his own grave, and they mourned over him, saying, Alas, my brother. And it came to pass after he had buried him, that he spake to his sons, saying, When I am dead, then bury me in the grave wherein the man of Elohim is buried. Lay my bones beside his bones.
There's something seriously wrong about this situation. But you gave up your life listening to him. I guess you ought to be right beside him. Go ahead.
For the saying which he cried by the word of Yahweh against the altar in Bethel, and against all the houses of the high places which are in the cities of Samaria, shall surely come to pass. After this thing Jeroboam returned not from his evil way, but made again of the lowest of the people priest of the high places.
Right. You see, there's some that there's no sound advice that they're ever going to be able to receive. It doesn't matter what happens. They are going to follow the dictates of their flesh that they have already decided, and ain't nothing you say going to change that. So at some point you have to realize, you know what, I'm casting my pearls among swine. Go ahead.
Whosoever would, he consecrated him, and he became one of the priests of the high places.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing became sin unto the house of Jeroboam, even to cut it off and to destroy it from off the face of the earth.
Right. All because of the actions and dealings of the generation before. So then we have to ask ourselves, what kind of legacy were you born in, and what kind of legacy are you going to leave after you? Are you going to carry on the thing that was handed unto you? Or are you going to do something different? Let's go to 2 Peter chapter 2. Second Peter chapter 2, and we're going to start that at verse 1.
But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you.
Right. And the same thing that happened then is happening now. So if you decide that you're going to listen to anybody, go ahead and count on passing down or having cursed children because of the things that you have decided to deal with. Go ahead.
Who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Adonai that bought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. And through covetousness shall they with vain words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time lingers not, and their damnation slumbers not. For if Elohim spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to the grave, and delivered them into chains of darkness, to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah the 8th person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an ensample unto those that after should live ungodly, and delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. For that righteous man dwelling among them, in seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. The Adonai knows how to deliver the godly out of temptations, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished.
Right. And if he has reserved the unjust for the day of judgment, and you decide, you know what, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to help. You can go ahead and plan on receiving that judgment too while you're at it. That judgment ain't going to stop because you standing there. You can think that if you want to. What's going to happen is you about to be in judgment too. And Yahweh might try to persuade you and hit you with a, you go over there and try to help one situation. So, he hits you over here on the right. He trying to persuade you, step out my business. All right, step out my business. I'm trying to give you this little bill over here so I can change your focus. Come over here. You go try to help somebody that Yahweh finna deal with, and all of a sudden the whole right axle part of your car come out my under. He trying to tell you, get out my business. Go over here, fix your car. Go over here, fix your car. Stay out my business. I'm gonna give you got 10 more seconds. Then he gonna start dealing with you for real. And he not even dealing with you for you. He dealing with you because you standing in his way. See, when folks earn judgment, oh, they gonna get it. And ain't nobody on earth gonna stop that judgment. Go ahead.
Verse 10. But chiefly them that walk after the flesh in the lust of uncleanness and despise government. Presumptuous are they, self-willed. They're not afraid to speak evil of dignities. Whereas angels, which are greater in power and might, bring not railing accusation against them before the Adonai. But these, as natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption, and shall receive the reward of unrighteousness, as they that count it pleasure to ride in the daytime. Spots they are and blemishes, sporting themselves with their own deceivings while they feast with you, having eyes full of adultery, and that cannot cease from sin.
Cannot stop. Go ahead.
Beguiling unstable souls.
Beguiling unstable souls, so they find weaklings that they themselves can convince to do some foul things with them. Go ahead.
And heart they have exercised with covetous practices, cursed children.
Right. They have already cursed their children by the deeds that they have done previously. You grow up a certain way because you have received the evil deeds of your parents. You're gonna have to pay for that. You done live deliciously off the dealings of somebody else. Go ahead.
Which have forsaken the right way and are gone astray, following the way of Balaam the son of Besor, who loved the wages of unrighteousness, but was rebuked for his lawlessness. The dumbass speaking with man's voice forbade the madness of the prophet. These are wells without water, clouds that are carried with a tempest, to whom the mist of darkness is reserved forever. For when they speak great swelling words of vanity, they allure through the lust of the flesh, through much wantonness. Those that were clean escape from them who live in error. While they promise them liberty, they themselves are the servants of corruption. For of whom a man is overcome, of the same is he brought in bondage. For if after they have escaped the pollutions of the world through the knowledge of the Adonai and Savior Yahshua HaMashiach, they're again entangled therein and overcome, the latter end is worse with them than the beginning. For it had been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness than, after they have known it, to turn from the holy commandment delivered unto them.
Right. But you have to look at how many times we've done that to Yahweh. He bring us out of something. We doing all right. We go right back to what we were doing before. Go ahead.
But it has happened unto them according to the true proverb, the dog is turned to his own vomit again, and the sow that was washed to her wallowing in the mire.
It has happened unto them according to the true proverb. The dog has turned around to his own vomit. And the sow, which is a pig, you can't wash. Soon as you wash it, it jump right back in the mud. So that means he is likening us to a dog that eats his own vomit and a pig who cannot stay clean. And the decisions that we make affect the generation after us. And so on and so on. So everybody can make whatever decisions they want, but do understand, it is going to affect somebody other than you. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 12.
2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 1. It is not expedient for me, doubtless, to glory. I will come to visions and revelations of the Adonai. I knew a man in the Mashiach above 14 years ago, whether in the body, I cannot tell, or whether out of the body, I cannot tell. Elohim knows. Such an one caught up to the third heaven. And I knew such a man, whether in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell. Elohim knows. How that he was caught up into paradise, and heard unspeakable words which is not lawful for a man to utter.
Now, you have a whole lot of people that have a issue, you know, just like you have the prophet that comes up, the lying prophet, and say, I'm a prophet also. Y'all have to be on guard when somebody say, you know what, hey, I'm a Hebrew too. Oh, yeah? What kind of Hebrew? What's your God name? You keep the Sabbath? You believe in baptism? Oh, you about to draw a dividing line right now, because you could have them, the one bookers, because all they do is deal with the Old Testament. You could have the new bookers, that all they deal with is the New Testament. Them just different animals. One of them just got 2 front legs, the other one got 2 back legs. They still some strange animals. Just one of them strange in the front, the other one strange in the back. Go ahead.
Of such an one will I glory. Yet of myself I will not glory, but in mine infirmities. For though I would desire to glory, I shall not be a fool, for I will say the truth. But now I forbear, lest any man should think of me above that which he sees me to be, or that he hears of me. At least I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations. There was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure.
So the more Yahweh gives you, the more he may also put a thorn in your flesh because of that. Everybody want to be talked to. Everybody want to be delivered. Be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you ask for. So he has all of these abilities to heal, but Yahweh gonna go ahead and leave this thorn. So you done got so much, I gotta give you something. Go ahead.
For this thing I besought the Adonai 3 times, that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness.
So, understand something. Yahweh our Elohim, who is our Father who art in heaven, does not take away everything we ask for. So if we're learning how we should handle things as a father, if you're going to try to take care of every need, want, and problem, I can tell you, you head down a long road. Yahweh didn't do that. You think he didn't have the power to do it? Of course he had the power to do it. This weakness is going to make you stronger. I ain't taking that. Go ahead.
Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in mine infirmities, that the power of the Mashiach may rest upon me. Therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distress for the Mashiach's sake. For when I am weak, then am I strong.
When I am weak, then am I strong, because I have to then depend on strength that I don't have. Now I get his. But whenever I think I can do it on my own, I'm doing it on my strength. But I truly become strong when I get to borrow some of his. But I don't get to borrow his when I think I got it. Go ahead.
I am become a fool in glorying. You have compelled me, for I ought to have been commended of you. For in nothing am I behind the very chiefest apostle, though I be nothing. Truly the signs of an apostle were wrought among you in all patience, in signs and wonders and mighty deeds. For what is it written wherein you were inferior to other churches, except it be that I myself was not burdensome to you? Forgive me this wrong. Behold, the third time I am ready to come to you, and I'll not be burdensome to you.
In other words, you're not going to have to provide for me. See, I'm going to work with my own hands. Go ahead.
For I seek not yours, but you. For the children ought not to lay up for the parents, but the parents for the children.
Right. The parents are supposed to lay up for the children. The children ain't supposed to lay up things for the parents. This is just part of this whole backward society where people can go out, live their whole life how they want to, and then show up when the sun getting ready to set on their life. Now they want to find their children. There's something truly wrong with you when a man is about to be an elder and then you find your child. I'm a grown man, dog. Grown man, dog. You're looking at a grown man, dog. You want to go somewhere else with that right there. Go ahead, brother.
And I will very gladly spend and be spent for you. Though the more abundantly I love you, the less I be loved. But be it so, I did not burden you. Nevertheless, being crafty, I caught you with guile. Did I make a gain of you by any of them whom I sent on to you? I desired Titus, and with him I sent a brother. Did Titus make a gain of you? Walked we not in the same spirit? Walked we not in the same steps? Again, think you that we excuse ourselves unto you? We speak before Elohim in the Mashiach, but we do all things, dearly beloved, for your edifying. For I fear, lest, when I come, I shall not find you such as I would, and that I shall be found unto you such as you would not, lest there be debts, envyings, wraths, strifes, backbitings, whisperings, swellings, tumults. And lest, when I come again, my Elohim will humble me among you, and that I shall bewail many which have sinned already, and have not repented of the uncleanness and fornication and lasciviousness which they have committed.
All right, let's go to Matthew chapter 26. So we have and we see where Saul wants this thing. And you have to consider, I mean, you look at the writing, it says, you know, hey, if you truly believe anything that you ask, your father shall give it you. He wouldn't give him that. He wouldn't give him that. He said, no. It's good for you to go through this problem. So then the father looks at situations and say, okay, no, I'm not saving you out of this. You get a kid a car and they tear up that car and you automatically get him another car. You can go ahead and set your clock by it. That car finna get tore up too. Now when they tear it up and you make them fix it, he said, man, you know, I tore up my car. Really? Here go the parts. Now, don't put that right there. Put that bolt on the other one. There you go. There you go. Now, you got to put some elbow grease in that thing. There you go. Yeah. Oh, no, they're going to think about tearing up that car the next time. Because they had to put it back together. If it just magically disappear, you know, the tow truck come and get it. And then next time it come back, it's fully painted. Now, think about the situation. So I damaged the car. And the car looked better than it did before I damaged it. Hell, it needed a paint job before I hit the wall. Next time I'm gonna hit 2 walls. Right. Consider what you're saying. I know what you think you're doing. But you got to think outside of yourself. Not take that from the understanding of a person with understanding. Take it as the person that you're looking at. Take it from their level of understanding. You just rewarded them for some mess. What do you think finna happen next? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 36. Then cometh Yahshua with them unto a place called Gethsemane, and says unto his disciples, sit you here while I go and pray yonder. And he took with him Cephas and the two sons of Zebedee, and began to be sorrowful and very heavy.
Okay, so the son of Elohim is sorrowful. Go ahead.
Then says he unto them, my soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry you here and watch with me. And he went a little further, and fell on his face, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will.
This is the most important part of this prayer. All right? He seeks deliverance from this thing. Oh my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Because he knows what's about to happen. Yahweh has power to remove this from his son. Yahshua has understanding. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will. Go ahead.
And he comes on to his disciples, and find them asleep, and says unto Cephas, what, could you not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray, that you enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. He went away again the second time, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, thy will be done.
Now, he's gone to his father again, asking for this thing. See, how many of us, we break down if they keep asking. First is a strong no. No. I don't know. Maybe. Go ahead then, don't. Go ahead.
And he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. And he left them and went away again and prayed the third time, saying,
see, some of us ain't gonna last 3 times. Some of us ain't gonna last 3 times. By the end, we done gave in. Go ahead.
Then comes he to his disciples and says unto them, sleep on now and take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners.
So he got it by the 3rd time. My daddy said no. So if you believe as a father that your answer has to be yes to everything, you don't really understand your role. He got it that his father said no. All right, y'all, go ahead and prepare. Here we go. Go ahead.
Rise, let us be going. Behold, he is at hand that does betray me. And while he yet spake, lo, Yehudis, one of the 12, came, and with him a great multitude with swords and staves from the chief priests and elders of the people. Now he that betrayed him gave them a sign, saying, whomsoever I shall kiss, that same is he, hold him fast. And forthwith he came to Yahshua and said, Hail, Master, and kissed him.
So understand what part of his father saying no meant. His father saying no meant he's about to be betrayed. And he and his father know it. Not just the father, he knows it as well. And he knows the father did not save him from this thing. Go ahead.
Hey man, do you remember the look? When you growing up, you might have asked something to just give you the look.
Yeah. Oh, I remember the look.
Okay. What the look meant?
Hey, bro. That look mean you better stop damn asking. There's some things you begin to ask for and you know. Can I? Ooh. Never mind. Never mind. Why you looking like that? Never mind. And you get that pre-speech. All right, we going in this store. You don't see nothing. You don't want nothing. You ain't getting nothing. Do we understand this? Yes. As soon as you get to the shiny toy aisle, oh, you done forgot already. Can I have this? Right. You have to learn. Yahweh said he ain't agreeing with everything. He ain't giving you everything. That don't mean you don't have it. The earth and the fullness therein belongs to him. My father owns everything. That's how and why we can have no money and end up with the best stuff on earth. Why? Because our daddy owns everything. I know I got stuff I ain't supposed to afford. My daddy own everything. My daddy can give me whatever he want me to have, but it's up to him when he want me to have it. I'll be going for one thing. No. You're going to get this one. And he'll make it so I can afford it. Go ahead.
Verse 50. And Joshua said unto him, Friend, wherefore art you come? Then came they and laid hands on Joshua and took him. And behold, one of them which were with Joshua stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck off a servant of the high priest and smote off his ear. Then said Joshua unto him, Put up again your sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Think you that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels?
Stop. So then when he was asking, he's asking, but still having the will of Yahweh override his question. Because he lets it be known, put your sword up. Do you understand that I could command 12 legions of angels at the snap of my finger? Do you understand I can have all this destroyed? So his prayer then was not all about him. So when he asked of Yahweh for something, see, when we ask for something, we asking for us. For us. Me, and my. What he's asking for is not just about him. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours. Why? Because we got to save these people. So, is there another way that you could do this, but I still save these people? And Yahweh said no. All right. Well, this is what we got to do. But he still got the power. He could keep pushing if he wanted to. But he didn't. See, this is one of those things where they say, before you can learn how to lead, you have to learn how to follow. See, part of learning how to be a father is also about learning how to be a son. Go ahead.
But how then shall the scriptures be fulfilled, that thus it must be?
So then we have to look at this, because sometimes we make an attempt to solve every problem that our family shows up with. And I can tell you, being young and starting a family, you run around trying to solve all the issues. And one thing you figure out, especially if you run into them old dudes at the barbershop, they're going to tell you, the more problem you solve, the more no problem going to show up, right? Boy, you ain't figured this out yet, has you? I finally figured out what they were talking about. See, not having been raised by my biological, when I became a father, I made mistakes that I thought were the right things to do at the time. Not having an example, I was ignorant as to where the boundaries were. Providing for my seed became infused and confused with solving every issue and providing every want and need of my new child's mother. Because I was determined not to be the deadbeat that my biological was, this confusion of boundaries caused me to leave myself open for things that would have ordinarily never taken place. So we have to consider something. When an individual places candy in a bowl and place it on the table, they are saying, without saying, you are free to partake. That individual cannot then get upset when people serve themselves of the candy bowl that they placed there. You, in fact, baited them by putting the candy bowl on the counter in the first place. They may have never wanted to partake of your candy bowl, but since you openly offered it, they then partook. When you leave yourself open and invite foul dealings unto yourself, even if it was never the other person's intention to use you in such a way, you shall be used. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 9. had an old man tell me one time, he said, you doing too much? You doing too much? Man, this is my first child. I'm gonna give him everything. Old man said, you doing too much? That old man was related to the child too. You doing too much? Need to slow down, Charlie Brown. You're doing too much. I didn't want to hear it. But I couldn't hear it. I didn't know what boundaries were. I just knew I didn't want to be like the genetic donor of material. I don't want to be like that guy. I didn't know what I wanted to be, but I know what I didn't want to be. I know I didn't want to be like that guy. And I'm still there. I don't want to show up to my kids' life 50 years later, talk about let's have a relationship. Man, that ship gone. That ship used to be in the water, and that's a spaceship. That ship gone, bro. There ain't no more ship there. And when you deal with some of these things, you see the thing about Joseph raising a child that he didn't even father. How many of us could do that? See, therein lies the difference between somebody who fathered a child and somebody who became a father to a child. So it ain't about did you father the child, are you a father to the child? See, somebody could come and tell me, you know what, there was a mix-up at the hospital. One of these kids, ain't really yours. I'm going to show them what the AR-15 do. Nah, I done fed these right here. These mine, bro. I'm going to tell you something. You come in here again, I'm going to tell you something. I'm about to show you something. Don't come in here no more. And you take them damn papers back with you. You going to learn today. No, I done already been a father to them. Your papers don't mean nothing to me. I don't care if the mailman slid over when we got to arguing. I don't give that. These mine, bro. Don't come back over here. Don't come back over here. You're going to walk over here, but you're going to limp back. Joseph was not his biological. Go over there and try to mess with Yahshua and see what Joseph do to you. Moved for a kid that wasn't even here. All right, time to go. We got to go to another town. So when you see people that won't even do that for the child that they brought in this world, man, you got some problems. Go ahead, brother. Let's go 1 Corinthians chapter 9. Let's start that at verse 1.
Am I not an apostle? Am I not free? Have I not seen Yahshua HaMashiach Adonai? Are not you my work in the Adonai? If I be not an apostle unto others, yet doubtless I am to you. For the seal of mine apostleship are you in the Adonai.
Because, so now you're dealing with a situation. As Saul has to deal with Yahweh, his father, then he has to be a father of sorts to these people whom he is teaching. And he has to make sure that they understand how things are supposed to be done. That means he has to also deal with them how Yahweh deals with him. Some things he might come and save them from, and other things, nah, I'm going to sit there and let you go through this because this is going to make you better. Go ahead.
Mine answer to them that do examine me is this. Have we not power to eat and to drink? Have we not power to lead about a sister, a wife, as well as other apostles, and as the brethren of the Adonai and Cephas? Or I only and Barnabas? Have not we power to forbear working? Who goes a warfare any time at his own charges? Who planteth a vineyard and eats not of the fruit thereof? Or who feeds a flock and eats not of the milk of the flock? Say I these things as a man, or say not the law the same also? For it is written in the law of Moshe, you shall not muzzle the mouth of the ox that treads out the corn. Does Elohim take care for oxen?
Right. He said, hey, if he tread out the corn, he get to eat some of it. Go ahead.
Or saith he or say he it altogether for our sakes. For our sakes, no doubt, this is written, that he that plows should plow in hope, and that he that thresheth in hope should be partaker of his hope. If we have sown unto you spiritual things, is it a great thing if we shall reap your carnal things?
And understand now, he had already said before, look, I'm not seeking yours, I'm seeking you. So then it's those things. He said, wait a minute, you have reaped from our spiritual things. When you talk about the things that we have done with this ministry, bro, we have given freely out to the internet for anybody that'll log on. We have freely given it. We didn't give 2 scriptures and tell y'all needed $39.99 to get the DVD so you can get the rest. If I did, we wouldn't be driving no Hondas. Go ahead, brother.
If others be partakers of this power over you, are not we rather? Nevertheless, we have not used this power, but suffer all things, lest we should hinder the gospel of the Mashiach. Do you not know that they which minister about holy things live of the things of the temple, that they which wait at the altar are partakers with the altar? Even so has the Adonai ordained that they which preach the gospel should live of the gospel.
But what makes this difficult for people is they've seen all the prosperity preachers and the guys, you know, like the fools do getting himself robbed, going through showing all the Gucci and all the stuff he got in his closet, you know, and can't figure out why they come in there and pull a kick though. Now my newly favorite one is the one who chastised his congregation because he didn't have that Movado watch. They sell a Movado at Sam's. I mean, he was upset. Y'all know I wanted one of those.
Wow.
Said, man, what in the world is happening right here? And he felt completely right in scolding them that he didn't have a Movado watch. That deep right there. Go ahead.
But I have used none of these things, neither have I written these things, that it should be so done unto me. For it were better for me to die than that any man should make my glorying void. For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, for necessity is laid upon me. Yea, woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel. For if I do this thing willingly, I have a reward. But if against my will, a dispensation of the gospel is committed unto me.
Right. If I do this thing willingly, then I have a reward. If I do this thing to obtain a reward, I got a problem. If I do this thing and I'm going to charge everything, man, we found out real quick. We wouldn't go, and people kept trying to push us, you know, you should monetize your videos. And no, I'm not doing that right now. No, you should monetize your videos. I said, let's try it on one of them documentaries and see what happens. Man, they started putting all kind of god-awful commercials in the middle of your videos. So here it is, you doing a video about one thing, and then some devilish commercial pop right up in the middle of your teaching. Advertising the very thing that you teaching against. You teaching against the devil and the devil commercial come on. Do you miss the devil? Why don't you come to the devil's temple? We're at 1399 Wichita Parkway. What? Did the devil just have a commercial? That's like watching the little cartoon Hercules and the devil trying to kill Hercules, and one of his minions show up and he got on Hercules shoes with the Hercules cup in his hand. He said, I'm trying to kill the dude and you show up in here with his merchandise on? Uh-oh. Are you kidding me? But for filthy lucre's sake, people don't care what happened. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 18. What is my reward then? Verily that, when I preach the gospel, I may make the gospel of the Mashiach without charge, that I abuse not my power in the gospel.
Right, because everything we need, Yahweh gonna provide for us. He gonna provide for us. See, people don't even know the game. When you go out and you see them people and everybody got on the same shirt and that, hey, there's a place they bought them shirts from. Them shirts ain't free. All them damn fringes ain't free. All them karate suits, they cost money. And it just so happened to be an official karate store right next to the church. Right. Keep playing them games. Y'all, we're going to take care of that business. Why you think he walked in, Yahshua turned over the tables and said, my Father's house is not a house of merchandise? Go ahead, bro.
For though I be free from all men, yet have I made myself servant to all, unto all, that I might gain the more.
Mm-hmm.
And unto the Yehudis I became as a Yehudi, that I might gain the Yehudis. To them that are under the law, as under the law, that I may gain them that are under the law. To them that are without the law, as without law, being not without law to Elohim, but under the law to the Mashiach, that I might gain them that are without law.
Right, but I'm not gonna go out there and do unlawful deeds that they may believe that they fit in with me. I'm not gonna do that, but I'm gonna do the things that I may be able to invite them into the word. Go ahead.
To the weak became I as weak, that I might gain the weak. I am made all things to all men, that I might by all means save some. And this I do for the gospel's sake, that I might be partaker thereof with you. Know you not that they which run in a race run all, but one receives the prize? So run, that you may obtain. And every man that strives for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. But I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway.
All right. Now let's go to our Deuteronomy chapter 18. You know, after we deal with some of these things with the Mashiach, you have to consider that there are a whole lot of people who call themselves Hebrews that do not believe in the Mashiach. They don't even believe in the whole New Testament period. So then you have to be able to go into the New Testament to have this conversation with them, because you can't have a conversation. You have to go in the Old Testament, because you can't have a conversation from the New Testament, because they're not going to listen to anything that's in it. So you got to have that conversation from a basis of what they deal with. But Yahweh has everything. The New Testament is what one of the things my teacher used to tell me. The New Testament is just a confirmation of the things written in the Old. Deuteronomy 18, let's start that at verse 1.
The priests, the Levites, and all the tribe of Levi shall have no part nor inheritance with Israel. They shall eat the offering of Yahweh made by fire, and his inheritance. Therefore shall they have no inheritance among their brethren. Yahweh is their inheritance, as he has said unto them. And this shall be the priest's due from the people, from them that offer a sacrifice, whether it be ox or sheep. And they shall give unto the priest the shoulder, and the two cheeks, and the maw. The first fruit also of your corn, of your wine, and of your oil, and the first of the fleece of your sheep shall you give him.
So Yahweh is making sure that the Levites, the priesthood, is going to be taken care of. Go ahead.
For Yahweh your Elohim has chosen him out of all your tribes to stand to minister in the name of Yahweh, him and his sons forever. And if a Levite come from any of your gates out of all Israel, where he sojourned, and come with all the desire of his mind unto the place which Yahweh shall choose, then he shall minister in the name of Yahweh his El, as all his brethren, the Levites, do, which stand there before Yahweh. They shall have like portions to eat, beside that which comes of the sale of his patrimony. When you are come into the land which Yahweh your Elohim gives you, you shall not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone that makes his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that uses divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto Yahweh, and because of these abominations, Yahweh your El does drive them out from before you.
And you know, we were into all of those things. It used to be a time everybody was dealing with your zodiac signs and all of that. That used to be a brother's pickup line right there. So what's your sign? You a what? I remember growing up and the charts was on the wall. Some of them glow in the dark. You turn the lights off and look at all the zodiac thing. You go in some brother's house, they had every zodiac, but brother, you can't be all these. Why all of them on your wall? Go ahead.
You shall be perfect with Yahweh your El. For these nations which you shall possess hearkened unto observers of times and unto diviners. But as for you, Yahweh your El has not suffered you so to do.
Right. So then these other nations were given up to do these things. You just made a decision. Once again, that's man again. The woman deceived. Man made a decision. He was not deceived. He made a decision to go along with her. I gave them up to this. You made a decision to deal with this. Go ahead.
Yahweh El will raise up unto you a prophet from the midst of you, of your brethren, like unto me.
Right. So hold on. So when you start dealing with the old covenant individuals, the one bookers, you're going to have to ask them some questions. All right, one booker, who are you talking about? Who are you talking about right here? I need a one booker to tell me. Who fits this right here? Go ahead.
Unto him you shall hearken, according to all that you desired of Yahweh your Elohim in Horeb in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of Yahweh my El, neither let me see this great fire any more, that I die not. And Yahweh said unto me, they have well spoken that which they have spoken. I'll raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto you.
So then we have to ponder on that. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto you. So then you have to meditate on some things concerning Moshe, and then consider what manner of individual was going to have to come to be able to stand in those shoes. Go ahead.
And will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him.
And that's your another key part. I'm going to put my words in his mouth. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words which he shall speak in my name, I'll require it of him.
Right. So then the whole testimony of judgment is going to proceed out of this individual's mouth. But you have to also consider how Moshe operated. Go ahead.
But the prophet, which shall presume to speak a word in my name which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die. And if you say in your heart, how shall we know the word which Yahweh hath not spoken? When a prophet speaks in the name of Yahweh, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which Yahweh has not spoken. But the prophet has spoken it presumptuously, you shall not be afraid of him.
All right. So then as we sit right there at verse 18, I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto you, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. So then we consider some things. Look at and weigh Moshe's life based on Yahshua's. Moshe was raised by others not his family. Yahshua was raised by Yosef, a man whom did not father him. Moshe had face-to-face interaction until he was being transformed into a god. Yahshua entertained the spirit of Israel and was thus a Elohim, a god that became a man. Moshe stood in between Israel and man. Yahshua became the mediator between Elohim and men. Moshe was in the stead of Elohim, and Aaron was his prophet. Yahshua became heir of all things, having under priests that we call disciples. Moshe was buried in a place not known. Yahshua walked out of his grave. So when the one bookers tell you that they don't deal with anything of Christ, you got to then go back to Deuteronomy 18 and ask them, who are you talking about? And you said that, you know, there are many other saviors. Tell me one that fit Moshe. Show me one. And they got to show that to you in the Old Testament now. Don't let them jump back to the remember, because they don't believe in the New Testament. So they got to show you one in the Old Testament. All right, go ahead. So we get the question from the Old Testament, the one that you believe in. Now show me who fit that in the same part of the book. Now you don't get but this part of the book to work with now. This is the only part you told me you believe in. Go ahead, I'll wait. Right. See, that's one thing that the Father also knows. He prepares us for them other little disobedient children you're going to run into. That's going to try to talk your children out of the instruction that was given unto them. So Yahweh prepared. Even as they were putting together the canon, he let them do certain things so it would be a clue to lead you back if we indeed study to show ourselves approved. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Acts chapter 3, and we're going to start that at verse 11. Did you have something, my brother?
No.
Okay. Acts chapter 3. When we examine, you know, the whole makeup of what Yahweh has placed here, his whole act of giving us a family is putting us in the situation that he's in. It says, isn't it written that you are yourselves gods? All right. So then he gives you a situation where you have to take care of something, but then all the wants and the desires come to you. Do you grant every last one of them? If so, you're not following your example, because he don't do that to you. Before, so you can understand his plight, he gonna give you some problems. He's gonna let you see. Do you see how I feel? This is your small representation of me. How does that feel? And when you have compassion for something, you start dealing with it differently. Once you see, oh, this is what I put you through. The whole time you trying to save me, I'm kicking and screaming, I'm fighting you. This is what I did to you. That activates your compassion, if you have any. Acts chapter 3, and let's start at verse 11. Go ahead, brother.
You know, if you take it on his level, he gave us so much of an experience to kind of feel what he goes through.
Mm-hmm.
He said, let us make man in our image.
Mm-hmm.
Give us the opportunity to be able to make little men in our image.
Right. Because you can't do it the way he do it.
Right.
You got to do it through this other avenue. You can't just make you. But he created a way so that you can do that. But then you got to learn how to deal with little you. And you know, in our own eyes, we was a much better kid. This is where it comes in handy to go and talk to some of them old people who was around when you was a kid. And when you ask them this question, don't be mad when the answer don't come out the way you thinking. So, you know what? I was a real good kid, wasn't I? when they giggle like that, no, go ahead and sit down. This is gonna take a minute. But if you ask that question honestly, it may actually help you deal with your own child. You have to honestly ask that question and then be able to receive what comes out. Go ahead, brother.
Acts chapter 3 and verse 11. And as the lame man which was healed held Cephas and Johanan, all the people ran together unto them in the porch that is called Slomo's, greatly wondering. And when Cephas saw it, he answered unto the people, You men of Israel, why marvel you at this? Or why look you so earnestly on us, as though by our own power or holiness we had made this man to walk? The Elohim of Abraham and of Esaac and of Jacob, the El of our fathers, has glorified his son Yahshua, whom you've delivered up, and denied him in the presence of Pilate, when he was determined to let him go. But you denied the Holy One and the just, and desired a murderer to be granted unto you, and killed the Prince of Life, whom Elohim has raised from the dead, whereof we are witnesses. And his name, through faith in his name, has made this man strong, whom you see and know. Yea, the faith which is by him has given him this perfect soundness in the presence of you all. And now, brethren, I know that through ignorance you did it, as did also your rulers. But those things which Elohim before had showed by the mouth of all his prophets, that the Mashiach should suffer, he has so fulfilled.
Right. So you have to think, it's interesting when people say that they have no true belief in the Son, and you have to wonder, well, what things did you read about the Father? Because how is it that these people were looking for a Mashiach? How is it that the people who we run into who said that they only read the Old Testament, how is it they're not looking for a son? Because these other people were. Maybe they looking at the one book in a different way. Go ahead.
Repent you therefore, and be converted, that your sins may be blotted out, when the times of refreshing shall come from the presence of the Adonai. And he shall send Yahshua HaMashiach, which before was preached unto you, whom the heaven must receive until the times of restitution of all things, which Elohim hath spoken by the mouth of all his holy prophets since the world began.
Verse 21, whom the heaven must receive until the times of restitution. Oh, everybody gonna have to pay for what they did. And if you just pay attention, Yahweh gives you examples of what to do and what not to do. Look at some of the people later on in life who you know lived how they wanted to live, did whatever they wanted to do. Look at them in their latter years and look at what they're going through. That's that delayed payment from all them hellacious things that they put out decades ago. Oh, it show up when you old, fat, flabby, and sick. And you can't move that quick. You can't dodge no more. You used to be able to dodge. Now it's tearing them up, right? That's them deeds 20, 30 years ago. All you gotta do is pay attention. He show you what not to do. Because when I look at it, I was like, oh, I know I'm not gonna do that. He said, what you talking about? Last thing I want to do is be 70 years old and dealing with some 20-year-old crap. So no. But if you've been around long enough and you had them other conversations, people will pull you to the side. All right, look. You remember Uncle Grady? Yeah. Let me tell you the real story about Uncle Grady. Then you understand what Auntie going through. Oh. Right. Some of them things, you need to ask enough questions so you can understand what's going on. At least you step your foot in it and you put your foot in Yahweh's business and then you lose that foot. And you can't figure out why. Seems like a good thing to do. I'm being a help. Right. Now what you're doing is standing in the way of judgment. That's what you're doing. Go ahead, bro.
For Moshe truly said unto the fathers, a prophet shall the Adonai your Elohim raise up unto you of your brethren, like unto me. Him shall you hear in all things whatsoever he shall say unto you. And it shall come to pass that every soul which will not hear that prophet shall be destroyed from among the people. Yea, and all the prophets from Samuel and those that follow after, as many as have spoken, have likewise foretold of these days.
Right. So then you have to wonder, what are other people talking about that Yahweh had already put together this situation? So his prophets were looking for these things. Yahweh has given us everything, and everything is not just in this book. If you pay attention to the examples that he has placed around us, you'll understand some things to do and some things that you probably should not do. But some of us have to make those mistakes on our own. We can't learn from somebody else's mistakes. And I can tell you, if you can't learn from somebody else's mistakes, make sure you put your helmet and your seatbelt on, because you in for a rough ride. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.